No. I don't have a great fashion sense. Now, I am aware of my lack of fashion sense. I was harshly criticized when I moved from New York to Gainesville, Florida, because I had shirts that were down here with a big face on the front. It was terrible. So what I had to, here's what I chose to do. I was like, okay, instead of being criticized, I'm going to get help. So I chose these two girls who were good friends of mine in the campus ministry, and I said, I will never go shopping without you. I need your advice, I need your aid, I need your help. And they were all about it. Now, I wish they would have paid, but either way, I appreciated the help. But then I came to Manhattan, and I thought I was doing pretty good. I'm just saying, not because I'm good, but because I had help, and they helped me. But then after I got into Manhattan, and the fashion in Manhattan is on a whole different level. And people know things that I didn't know. Like, for example, who here knows what pleated pants are? A lot of men do not raise their hand. I had no idea what pleated pants were. I'm not going to tell you what they are because they are not very popular, it seems. But I had a lot of pleated pants, and I was told that old people wear that. And so a couple of sisters here who remain unnamed have taken it upon themselves, and I've welcomed it to help me with my fashion. Because I need it. Because I look rough. And this morning I had a little bit of a crisis. And some people can attest to this. I actually texted John as well. I woke up this morning and I sent a text message out at like 8:30, I don't know what time I sent it, and I was like, am I allowed to wear socks with these shoes? The girl at the store said I'm not allowed to wear socks. Is that okay? Is that a problem? It was panic mode. When I got to the subway, I realized that I'd actually put on the wrong shirt. For you may not notice that may not matter. But for me, it was a big deal. Now, why was this a big deal? Do I just care so much about what I look like? No, and the reason I bring it up for you is not to critique me on my fashion sense later on or, to worry about yourself. The reason I bring this up is because it's also a heavenly problem. You see, we need to have a certain kind of attire on when Judgment Day comes. Matthew 22 talks about the wedding clothes and people arriving not wearing the right clothes, but being surprised when they're told that they're not wearing the right clothes. Maybe they're wearing the wrong clothes because they didn't ask for advice. Because they didn't ask for help. Because when they heard about the invitation and that there was a certain dress code, they didn't ask why. Why is there a dress code? They just assumed and went forward. And so I need help with my human, earthly fashion sense, but we all need help with our heavenly fashion sense. Because we would hate to go on our own accord and our own thoughts and what we think and get to the final banquet, the final day, and not be wearing the right clothes. We must get advice. Second thing is, children forgive. And they forget very quickly and completely. It's actually quite incredible how they do this. Right? Like, we've all seen kids fight and argue, and it looks like it's over. Like, worse than breakups that maybe you've gone through. Like, it is a blazing feud of anger. And then, like 6 minutes later, they're like, hey, how you doing? Hey, man, hey, how's it going? You're doing great? Yeah, it's good to see you. It's like incredible. Like, what happened? Did you forget that you just told Mikey that you hate him? Did you completely forget that statement was said? But we love that, and we should admire that. Because kids also know how to deal with unfair treatment very well. They know how to deal with it. Children aren't scared of getting a little dirty with one another and when it comes to emotions. And part of why I think they can forgive and forget so quickly is that they can take the punches. They have tough skin. I heard a story of a kid who was called the Frog. He was like a 7-year-old kid. He was called the Frog, and he went home and he's like, Daddy, they called me a frog? He had no idea they were making fun of him. He just had no clue. That doesn't mean that we should be oblivious, but what it does mean is that we should try our very hardest to see the best intentions in others. How many times have you seen a kid fall and get right back up? Like they're having so much fun, they fall flat on their face, like a loud thud, like when John banged his chin on the floor trying to do the work. And just get right back up and keep going. Romans 8, verse 14, this is the TNIV, says, those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. If indeed, goes on later say, if indeed we share in his sufferings. we should be prepared to suffer. Right? Like I think parents, and I know there's a lot of parents here, maybe this is like scary to think about, especially a lot of newborn children. You know that your child's going to fall, right? Like you know it's going to eventually happen. And you hate that that's going to happen, but you know they're going to fall, and you just hope that they have the strength to just get back up and to keep going, and they don't get traumatized by a crazy event or situation. I think God has the same hope for us, that when we fall, we can get back up. Part of this is being willing and able to suffer a little at times, so we can rejoice a lot at the end of times. Another thing is, children don't hold things against a loving father. This goes against this continues with the falling point. When a father makes a mistake, I'll give you this example, okay? Many of us have tried to ride a bike, right? We've tried very hard. Now, how do parents help their kids ride a bike? They promise that they're going to be right there the whole way, right? And then at the last second, that happens. Why did that happen? Because he let go. Now, why did he let go? Because the father knows that if he doesn't let go, that if he doesn't let the child fall, the child is never going to learn. That they have to get some bruises sometimes. But the father never lets us get hit by a car. He's there for the big things. But he knows the little things that we can handle. He knows the little things that we can take. Kids can suffer through a lot if they're doing something they love. And so if we love following God, we should be able to go through a lot too. This continues to go on. Now think about this though. What is the product of the father letting go and the child falling over and over again? What's the end result?
You learn how to
Learning. Eventually the child can ride the bike. They believe. Children believe and trust that dad knows best, even if they're upset for a little bit. Like, there have been kids who probably got really angry. Like, you promised you weren't going to die. Like, why do you buy? You know, I can see that. But they forget about it the next day. They don't hold on to it. How childish would it be if a kid a couple years later is like, no, you let go of the bike. I don't trust you. That'd be so childish, right? How childish of us when we go through things and we don't realize that it's God letting go and stepping back so we can learn. It's not that he's not there. The father was there the whole time, right? He had it under control. He made sure the kid didn't get hit by the car. It was a close call, but he was there. God has it under control. And the expectation of the father when the child got back up was that he would get back on the bike. Have you gotten back on your bike? Is there a bike that you've fallen off from that you feel like God left you hanging? You feel like he wasn't there when he promised he was going to be there. We all go through many difficult things. And there are people who've gone through things that I'll never understand or comprehend or be able to go through. But I pray that you ask yourself, was this God trying to teach me something? And I hope that you find it within yourself to get back on that bike if it's something that's great, like following him and doing your best. In James chapter 1, it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything." Now, kids don't know, right? I guess the whole point of that whole analogy there is that the kids don't know that the father's going to let go of the bike, but we do. We know that that's going to have to happen for us to learn. Not that he's not there, but that we have to go through some things. Something else we can learn from children is that they may seem childish, that what may seem childish is actually childlike. And that's that children are scared of the dark. Now, this is hard to read, and that's purposeful. It's not like I made a mistake. It's hard. Why is that hard to read? Because it's dark, right? It's hard to grasp things in the dark. If we turned off all the lights and covered all the windows, you'd have a hard time getting around. And children hate the dark. Who here is humble enough to say they're still scared of the dark? Yeah? Yeah, it's scary sometimes, right? I was sitting with this picture, now you can't see it, there's like two eyes right here, maybe you can see them. Like two eyes right there, you see them now? I was looking at the screen and I was like, that's kind of scary. It's like it's looking at me. But children have a very sensitive heart and attitude toward things in the dark. And it's so righteous of them because they also have a very sensitive attitude to sin. I remember being, and maybe you've had this experience, you're around a child and something happens, you get upset and you say something, it's not like you say a bad word or anything like that, nothing you feel sinful about, but the child like feels your like upsetness and they feel like you've sinned. Like, whoa, like, that was too much, you know. They're so sensitive to sin. In Romans 12 it says, love must be sincere, hate what is evil, cling to what is good. This word hate is the word akustuego, which means to have horror of. Who here can't watch scary movies? Raise your hand if you just can't do it. Doesn't matter what it is, you hear it's scary, you hear the music, and it's too much. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. And raise your hand if you love scary movies. Love them. Now I'm gonna assume that when you were a child, that wasn't necessarily the case. That when you were a child, just like me, you covered your eyes. When you knew a bad part was coming, you covered your ears, you like elbows for the eyes or like hands for the ears, like you were making sure you couldn't see it. Or maybe your father or your mother covered your eyes or your ears, trying to make sure that wasn't able to happen. But as you and I have gotten older, something that happens is scary movies don't affect us the same way. Right? We've gotten used to some things. We can anticipate, okay, when he or she opens the door, he's going to be there with the knife, the music is building up, this is way too obvious. And so we grow a tolerance to scary movies. And I think it's synonymous with how you can notice that scary movies have gotten a lot gorier in recent times. And I think it's because we've become so used to what we've seen. What about sin? Do we still cover our eyes? Do the small things still make us jump? Or have we gotten used to things? As we've gotten older in our faith, as we've gotten older just in life, have certain things that when we were younger, we wanted to stay away from, and we knew were bad, whether it's morally or with God, do we not cover our ears and eyes anymore? Do we, well, it's not as bad. But I know when it's coming, and I can anticipate it. I can respond. We got used to it. We live in a very dark world. A world of greed and malice, which is why we must be children of the light. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, it says, you are all sons of the light and sons of the day. We do not belong to the night or to the darkness. We are sons of the day, sons and daughters of the day, children of the light. And I hope you felt that in this group if you're visiting today. We're just a bunch of kids. Right? I mean, just think about it. What do we spend most of our time doing? Singing? Just like kids, because adults don't really do this, hugging